Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing out there? Just wanted to come on here and do a live video, give you severe weather update today and what we are expecting over the next 24 to 48 hours. So we'll give it just a second, let some more people tune in. Working on finishing up a couple graphics real fast, getting them in. So let us know where you're tuning in from. And like I said, we'll get started here in just a second. Because we do have severe weather. We've got a lot to talk about. Um, and there are some things we're going to have to watch over the next 24 hours. The severe weather threat does appear to be increasing for tomorrow, and we will dive into that here in just a second. Like I said, I'm finishing up one thing real fast, and then we will get right into this. So just hang tight with us. Like I said, comment, let me know where you're watching from, and we'll get started. Jason says, my house. Welcome. Welcome. Glad you're watching from the house. All right. We're just about ready to rock and roll here. Marshall, welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. We do have a lot to talk about. We've even got a potential small severe weather threat for today. And we'll dive into that here in just 1 second. So let's see. There's been a lot of new updates right before I went live, so I'm just finalizing a few things real quick, and then we're gonna jump right into this. Like I said, we've got a lot to talk about, and I mean a lot. Okay, I think we are just about ready to rock and roll. So here we go. Let's start the intro, and we'll get started. All right, we're going to start out with the Skyscan Doppler because I want to take a look across the state, and we've actually got some stronger storms developing. Now, here's what you need to know. There's a warm front, and this warm front is down here way south of Little Rock, okay? So there is really no tornado threat today with this. If anything, this would be just a hail risk. These thunderstorms, they're pretty strong. They've got some small hail with them, and the Storm Prediction Center does have an enhanced risk for southern Van Buren County and then a slight risk for all of Searcy County. I'll dive into that here in just a second. So, today we're dealing with mainly heavy rain with lots of lightning because these storms will have lightning with them. And we're watching a few, one here over towards Newton County. That's pretty strong. And then we've got another one around Hector. That's moving to the northeast. Probably be impacting Botkenberg, Leslie, Marshall, somewhere in there. Again, likely all this has is just some small hail with it. These thunderstorms, they tense up and then they kind of decrease. The reason for that is because we don't have any significant amounts of wind shear or storm fuel. So we look at a couple things. Number one, we have to look at what's called surface-based instability. And we don't have any surface-based instability in our area. What we do have is we have most unstable CAPE, which basically means that there is some instability, but it's instability that's elevated, not at the surface. So for big severe weather, like, the 70, 80 mile an hour winds and extremely large hail, as well as tornadoes, you got to have surface-based instability. We don't have that here. So that's why the severe weather risk is low today. But I think that we've got just enough CAPE in the upper levels to support a hail threat. It's kind of cold aloft. And so that's why I think we're going to have to watch a few of these storms because I would not be surprised if a few of them tense up to the point where they got to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. I think it'll be quick lived. I don't think it'll be anything significant, but it's enough you might go under severe thunderstorm warning. I know they've got a severe thunderstorm watch that they just issued just a little while ago. And I think this is going to continue over the next several hours. I think there's more storms developing to our south we're going to have to watch. But again, the primary threat today would be a hail risk. Tomorrow, totally different story. And I want to get into tomorrow's data here in just a second. But first off, I just wanted to give you guys an update with what we're seeing across the state right now. So again, we've got a few significant weather advisories off to our west, one that actually does include Van Buren County, but the storm itself does appear to be weakening, so that's good news. And that's kind of going to be the story, I think, today as well as tonight. Now, tomorrow, like I said, different story. We have a legitimate severe weather risk. Yesterday, we were watching a few of the models and we were watching the data. And I didn't bring this to your attention because, there's a few things that I look at and analyze, and there's things that make me think, okay, is this going to happen? And so, but it looked like that the storms or the wind shear was outrunning the storms. And because of that, when storms wanted to tap into the wind shear, it was already to its east. And so that's why I think the thunderstorms didn't get going as the way the models were predicting. And so that's great news for us. However, Northeast Arkansas got a big, and I mean big, major tornado outbreak. Probably, I don't think I've seen that many tornado warnings at one time in the state of Arkansas since I've been alive. That was absolutely crazy. High risk day. Just a bad day overall. But tomorrow we have to watch because some of the same ingredients that brought that tornado outbreak in Northeast Arkansas yesterday is shifting to the west. And because of that, there is certainly a severe weather risk for us. Um, and we've got a moderate risk now, which is a 4 out of 5. We don't have a high risk. There was a high risk for Northeast Arkansas. We don't have that. We have a moderate. Do I think it's going to get upgraded? Not right now. I don't see enough. I don't see enough data to support that. But I do see data that does make me think the tornado threat is certainly present and is going to be elevated tomorrow night. There is some signs that make me truly think that we could see several tornado warnings. And I think some of these tomorrow night could be long track tornadoes, unfortunately. The environment is going to be supportive of that. What's going to help us is if storms can stay more into a line, and that's what we want. We want storms to be linear, not isolated. So if they're more into a line, that's great news. But if storms begin to isolate themselves, and some of the model guidance is indicating this, there's certainly a tornado threat, and it needs to be watched very carefully. So, not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to prepare you, and I think it's a great idea. If you haven't yet this year, make sure your safe room is cleaned out, is ready to go. I think it'd be a good idea to talk to your kids tonight. Hey, where do we go in a tornado? What do we do? That would be a good idea. I'm not saying that we're going to see a tornado outbreak, but what I am saying is there are very concerning signs when you look at these computer models. Now, they could be wrong, and we could see another situation like we saw yesterday where we don't get much of anything, and then the activity's over in Northeast Arkansas. But what you do need to understand is one thing. The models were not wrong in terms of where the tornado outbreak was at. Where the models was wrong was in the initiation start, the building process. So I kind of want you guys to realize that. I can't even talk. I want you guys to realize that is that the models were incorrect a little bit on the thunderstorms and how they were going to get started. But once they got their act together and matured, then the models was right on and the high risk was right on. So I'm saying that the models could be wrong here, but if they're not, we need to be watching the weather very closely. So, we're going to dive right into the data. We've got the newest data. It's starting to come in. I keep refreshing just to make sure. Let's see. Do we have enough data in to support tomorrow? Yeah, we do. We do. This is actually hot off the press. I have not seen this data just yet. Yeah, I haven't seen this data, but let's look at this. All right. So, here we go. We're going to look at this. First of all, I want to bring your attention to severe weather risk. Okay? This is the severe weather risk for tomorrow. We have an enhanced risk for the majority of the state, and then we have a moderate risk. This includes Mena, Arkadelphia, Texarkana, Conway, Clinton, Marshall, those areas. Searcy County, Van Buren County is in the moderate risk. This is a 4 out of 5. This is not a high risk. Yesterday's outbreak was a high risk. We're just at a moderate, but that's a 4 out of 5. If we remember back to just a few weeks ago, I think it was March 14th, I believe, when we had that activity in Leslie, had the possible tornado touchdown. We ended up, sorry, I think UPS is here at the house. I heard a vehicle backing up that kind of threw me off. What we can see is that we had a moderate risk right before the event started. I mean, it was literally an hour before the event started. We had a moderate risk. Now we're a day before the event and we've already got a moderate risk. So conditions are looking even more favorable for tornadic storms. What's the tornado risk? Well, earlier we were seeing a 10% hatched area. Now they have upgraded us to a 15 to 30% tornado probability. You see that down in the corner. Probability of a tornado, 15 to 29%, as well as hatched. And what does hatched mean? It means any area that is in the hatched marks, which basically means the slashes there, could see long track destructive tornadoes. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you this is the way the data is looking right now. So there's definitely a tornado threat. Tomorrow, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, as of right now, I think we have a high tornado risk. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Not a medium tomorrow. I'm going ahead and saying high. Now, things can change. They always do. But as of right now, there's certainly concern with a tornado risk for tomorrow. So this is your tornado outlook. Now, let's break this data down here in just a second about what we're expecting, why there's concerning signs with the newest data. I just looked at it for just a second, and I'll show you. I think with yesterday's event, and let's go back to Skyscan Doppler. With yesterday's event, the storms were more into a line. And there was a few locations that tried to rotate here and there, but the wind shear, like I said, got ahead of it. You know, the setup just wasn't real supportive for our area. Well, tomorrow, according to the computer models, we could be seeing supercells in our area. And so, again, I'm not trying to scare you here, guys, but I'm just telling you that with what I'm seeing, and I have a mission statement to keep you informed and keep you updated. Okay, so I'm not going to downplay anything. Um, with a 4 out of 5 risk, that's a serious risk. That's a serious concern. So just keep that in mind. But I know there's other TV stations, they're pulling a high risk on the tornado threat. And I think I'm going to go ahead and say that I think there is a high tornado risk tomorrow. Certainly, the safe room will be open at Marshall. I know other locations I'm sure will be open as well. This is a risk that you don't want to just kind of throw on the back burner and be like, oh, yeah, we've got a severe weather risk. No, this is one you need to be watching very close, and you need to have a way of getting warnings. Okay, let's look at the new data. Here we go. This is coming in as we speak. So what are we expecting? Well, this is the newest computer model. It just updated. I waited as long as I could to show you this data. So here's some thunderstorms. They'll start to be on the increase. And I think, there could be isolated severe storm. This is today. We're looking at today at 3 o'clock. And like I said, maybe there's some hail in the mix of this. And we're already seeing that on radar. So yeah, model guidance doing a good job on this. But now watch what happens as we get closer to 5 o'clock. There could be more storms. I think, severe weather risk would be low, maybe some hail in the mix of this. But for the most part, we don't see much. Then we start to clear out. And then we'll have to watch. This is Friday at 1 o'clock. Okay? Watch what happens. You starting to see some development? Because I sure do. Now, don't take it literally the exact area or time. But model guidance is hinting at some development. Development to the east of Van Buren County, which if you think of that, oh, well, that's to the east, so that won't affect me. Not so fast. Watch what happens from 5 o'clock. Any isolated cell in nature would have the potential to rotate in an environment like tomorrow. So if you get isolated cells ahead of this line, here's the main line right here. I mean, if this is a supercell, this could be a supercell, this could be a supercell. You could be dealing with multiple supercells. And with the environment being supportive of supporting long track tornadoes, this is not something you want to see on computer model guidance right there. Look, it's got the it's got the curl. I mean, there's certainly a severe weather risk with this, guys. I'm serious. Here's your main line, and these storms are ahead of the line. Don't take it literally the exact area or timing because this will change. But when you're seeing this, this is definitely, and I'll make it easier for you guys here in just a second to see this. And then the line kind of pushes through, and it just kind of stalls out with heavy rain, and we experience heavy rain. But it's at that first moment, it's right up in here, this 5-6 o'clock time frame. Really going to be watching very close. I'll make it easier for you to see right there, and it's easier to make this out. Look, any of these isolated cells like this, those things could be supercells. And if they develop in this environment, they would have the potential to become tornadic pretty quick. So let's look at the tornado parameters. This is what's driving the moderate risk. Don't take it literally, but I mean, that's up there. Those probabilities are pretty high right now. Or at least that's the way models are looking. So, if you've got isolated cells developing and you've got probabilities of tornadoes to this magnitude, that certainly would indicate a severe weather risk. And I think what happens, the computer models, this warm front, that's going to be the question is, where does the warm front stall out? If the warm front's up here towards Boone County, then certainly Searcy County's got a threat, Van Buren County's got a threat. If the warm front hangs out in Van Buren County, Searcy County would probably see elevated thunderstorms. They wouldn't see any kind of severe weather risk. But according to this computer model, it's a pretty good indication that certainly we have a severe weather risk tomorrow that needs to be watched very close. We've got a lot of storm fuel. Like, look at this instability. Almost 3,000 CAPE, according to this computer model, at 3 o'clock. I showed you thunderstorms would be developing in this area. Now, let's look at the wind shear with this. How much wind shear do we have? Well, there's pockets here of wind shear that would support. So there's a lot of signs. Let's look at the updraft. Let's see the updraft potential here. So certainly, there's updraft potential pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, just look at that. There's a hail risk with this, but also with updrafts signaling like this, that's where your long track tornadoes would come into play. So, again, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just trying to tell you this is what the computer models show. Could be totally wrong, though. I've seen them, be wrong many times. But if you've got, let's look at this one more time. If you've got a supercell developing like this right here in this environment at 3 o'clock, this could be problem. This could be problems. And then as more build in, that could be problem as well. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's kind of cold outside. So will it warm up? Yes. I see a comment about this. Dew point is low, and low in the AM doesn't have to be higher. Yes, it does. And watch what happens. So according to this, yeah, look at the dew point. So right now, we're in the 50s. Not much with support of severe weather. Watch as this warm front rises. This is actually brand new data. But at 3 o'clock tomorrow, that dew point is at 71 degrees. Not temperature, dew point, if this model's correct. I mean, the setup here speaks severe weather all over it. Um, and that's why I think there's that high tornado risk. As of right now, I don't think they would pull the high risk from the SPC, but if things continue to trend the way they are looking, certainly can't rule it out. So let's look at temperatures too. Yeah, so you see that warm front, according to this, that warm front reaches all the way up past Searcy County, which really makes it real warm in Van Buren County with 72-degree temperature. Actually, it looks like 74 degrees at 3 p.m. and a dew point of 71. So you've got moisture return, you've got plenty of wind shear, you've got the temperature, the heat, you've got a lot of factors playing for severe weather here. So I will be here in the weather center, keeping everybody updated, ready to go live. I would highly encourage you guys, have a way of getting warnings tomorrow, and please, please, please clean out your safe room, whatever or whatever safe place you go to, clean that out. Let's look at this one more time for the SPC risk. Remember, this is the tornado risk. It's a 15 to 29%. Not going to shock me if this gets upgraded, truthfully, looking at the newest data. This could definitely be something we're going to really need to watch. So, again, not trying to scare you, just trying to prepare you that severe weather is certainly likely tomorrow at this point. Now, let's take a look back at Skyscan Doppler and talk about these thunderstorms because we're seeing a little bit of an uptick just south of Dover. That's pretty strong. And then we're seeing one towards Fort Douglas. I talked about Fort Douglas yesterday. So there's certainly a hail threat building, little hail core towards Dover. So if these hold together and they issue some kind of severe thunderstorm warning in the next little bit, we'll go live. We'll be right here. But the main focus is not today's threat. The main focus is tomorrow's threat. And that needs to be watched. Just being honest here. Yeah, not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to prepare you because conditions are coming together that, we did not have 71-degree dew point last time on the 14th. We did not have that. When you're dealing with 71-degree dew point, you've got plenty of moisture. So, warm front surging, there actually could be more instability in our neck of the woods than what there was in Northeast Arkansas. And I'm just telling you that to be honest. Just being transparent with you guys. So, because I want you to understand something. This could always bust. This could always be, well, Blaze said it was going to do this and it didn't do it. And I hope that's the case. I really hope that's the case. I thought yesterday we actually had a threat. And we had one tornado warning in Searcy County, northern. That was pretty much it. So, but I certainly think this threat is coming together to where this could be some issues. We could have some issues on our hands tomorrow night, unfortunately. What time tomorrow is the most significant threat? Well, it kind of looks like there might be two threats. It's all going to depend on what develops ahead of the front and ahead of the line. So if you get thunderstorms initiating towards Fayetteville, Winslow, Crawford County, that shifts east, then thunderstorms develop. According to the latest computer model, it was showing a severe storm close to about the 3-4 o'clock time frame. Now, does that actually happen? I don't know. It's going to kind of depend on what the computer models show, how accurate they are, and they're not real accurate. But what I can tell you is that I think 3-4 o'clock, I tell you what, let's just go ahead. I'm just going to say it right here. At 2 o'clock, get weather aware and be weather aware from 2 to midnight. 2 to midnight. Okay? Because after we get the isolated severe storms, maybe supercells, that line's still going to have to move through. So that's more heavy rain and could be some gusty winds with this. So there's always a chance that warm front stalls and it doesn't make it past our area, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's going to be the case, and I certainly think we've got severe weather. At this point, severe weather is likely tomorrow, and I think the tornado threat is high. Just saying it like that. So, Dover storm definitely doesn't look like they'll pull a severe thunderstorm warning. Probably significant weather advisory, and it'll include a portion of Van Buren County, probably. So, all right, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning into the broadcast. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I will be here tomorrow watching this very closely, and we're going to get through this. We're going to make it. We're going to make it through this. But a moderate risk, that's not something to joke around. Moderate risk is serious. So, all right, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of your day. And if I have to go live because of, isolated severe storm, again, the risk today is going to be a hail threat. Really no tornado threat or wind. Maybe some gusty winds with this, but really for the most part, it's just hail. So, all right, guys. Y'all have a good day.